Hello and welcome. My name is Maria and today I'm sharing everything I've learned in my 1 year on YouTube. I started YouTube September last year and it has been quite a journey, fantastic journey. I love it and I'm sharing what worked, what didn't. Hopefully it comes in handy. First piece of advice is to not overthink it. And I think it's probably because it's most relevant to me and this video is actually a result of me overthinking. With YouTube, just like with most new things, I think especially like for people wired like me, it's easy to like start over-engineering things and over-complicating, and there is a sort of healthy ratio between preparing well and doing the research and looking up on how to do the setup and everything. But also it's important to not allow this to sort of stall and procrastinate, because the reason I am filming this video is because I was supposed to launch a new series. My channel is normally all about creating a calmer and more balanced life. And I was going to launch a new series today for, spanning the rest of the year. It's all about the winter arc. And a few weeks ago, I have already written out like the main idea, the main thing, and like a few of the episodes. But I kept spiraling in my head, sort of like, no, I need to come up with all the rest of the topics and for each episode. And in the end, I sort of got stuck. And now, according to my posting schedule, there should be a video tomorrow. So here it is. In the end, I think, especially in the first year, it's the time to play around, figure things out, try and test things. And if I look back, yes, I did do quite a bit of research even before filming my first video, but most of the actual progress and things that really worked for me came from actually filming videos and posting videos and seeing what works and what doesn't. And I always compare like this first year on YouTube to my 20s, which was a total shit show, to be honest. And I was making every possible mistake. But like now I know what works. I know what doesn't. Like with the series that I'm making, in the end, that led me to almost screw up my my Thursday posting schedule. And that brings us to my second advice, and that is the figure out the balance between structure and flow. And here, if you look around and you research on how to approach YouTube, there are usually two ways to approach YouTube. One is more like a hobby and one is more like a job. And I think for me, it's a bit of a hybrid, which some creators recognize as like its own category, because while I do it just because I love it, and that will be, by the way, our third piece of advice, but in the end I do also bring structure to it. So for me, it's sort of, I kind of like it. It's like, okay, Thursday is the YouTube release, so I know I film things and prepare things, and I've been playing around also with launching things as a premiere or not, and what works best. But there is a certain flow and structure, and here also oh my, you see, I'm so happy I'm filming this video, because I was like, what am I going to post tomorrow? This I can just sit and talk about, and I have half an hour so before my appointment, so I can do that. The balance, figure out if it's a hobby and you just do it occasionally and you don't really care about the metrics and all that and growth, or if it's like a dedicated, almost like a job in its own right. And then, like there is a structure and there is like a cadence to everything. Like my next piece of advice is do it because you love it and without any expectations. And I have been on YouTube for a year now. It's actually, I think, next week, exactly a year. And I have not seen any like tangible, measurable progress, nothing major. I have 140 something subscribers, which I appreciate every one of. But I mean, it's not about like growing super big, super fast. I do think and I do believe that we stick with things that we love much better than, with something that we have to do. And YouTube, I think it's a very common knowledge that YouTube is, like they say, it's a slow game, it's a slow burn, but I think I like it this way. It's the first year is just it's just figuring out, like throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, and the learning curve and all that. And sort of this is how I approach it. But I love sitting here and talking to you guys. And I think maybe it's like, it depends on the person. I really love talking. All of my friends throughout the years, the one thing everybody remembers is like, oh, how we used to sit down with like some tea and talk all night. I'm like, yeah. And to say like being paid to talk. I'm not paid to do YouTube, but I love talking. So I genuinely just enjoy sitting here and sharing everything I want to share, and just hoping that it comes in handy and it brings either comfort or some knowledge. And so do it because you love it. Give up all expectations, and there is actually then maybe a chance that it becomes something long-term and can actually grow somewhere. My next piece of advice, and I had it right there. Oh, that is about making sure you prioritize your mental health. When I first mentioned the balance between schedule and cadence and how it's important to, I think the algorithm on YouTube really appreciates regularity. I watched a lot of YouTube videos with a lot of advice as to how to approach it. And some people say, yeah, like in the first year you have to post every day or like 3 times. I'm like, I knew from the start, like once a week is what I can realistically do, with, because I have an actual business that I do, and I have my kids and I have my life. And my alarm went off because I have an appointment in half an hour. And okay, I have so many things I want to share. Yes, so I can create 1 video per week, and that is the schedule I stuck with, and that worked. That is good for my mental health. And another thing is, if you feel like it, please take breaks. And I did that, so it's been like a full 12 months period on YouTube for me. And I did take a break for 3 weeks, if I remember correctly, back in April, May, because it was sort of like, it was necessary. I really needed it, because I believe I need to step aside from it to sort of get inspired and sort of recalibrate. And then your mental health is the most important thing. And the algorithm is totally fine with creators taking breaks, as long as, then you return and you continue with your normal posting schedule. And I just had it. What was the next thing before my alarm went off? Oh, try things. Especially in the first year, I have throughout the year tried and tested a ton of things, and part of it was curiosity, part of it was like intentional experimentation to see what works best and what works best for me, and part of it was just circumstantial, like because like there was no other choice. That's totally fine, especially in the beginning, like with everything. Again, it's not just YouTube, like you just try and see what works. I did start filming here. That's my bedroom. And I did originally start filming here. Now, the only difference is the setup was like this. So I have my softbox video light here, and I have my phone here. And by the way, I still film with my iPhone, and that's, I have so much to say. Yeah. And like I was filming sort of against this wall. Then I sort of changed things up in my guest room and put on like soundproof panels. And I thought, okay, I'll make that a designated space so I don't have to install my video light every time. I can just leave things there. It was a good idea in theory. Didn't work in practice because in the end, I still have to put everything away because I have 2 kids, a cat, and my own clumsy self. So this light would not survive. So anyway, but then during summer vacation, I filmed a couple of videos on my terrace, which was a disaster because sound does matter a lot. And on my terrace, like outside, it was like, even with the mic, it was super noisy. And yeah, but I tried it. I saw, okay, that doesn't work. And in the end, I went back to my bedroom. Just because I like it. I love the vibe. I feel it's sort of, that's my favorite place in the whole world. And I have my Harry Styles posters. But yeah, I went back here, but I just sort of changed the setup to be like this, which is basically how the furniture normally is. I just pulled the chair a little bit closer, like to the center of the room, and that's all. So try new things. Don't be afraid to experiment. Be fine with the fact that things will not work all the time. And that's kind of the whole point of life. Try, see, and learn. Okay, next one. Oh, about the gear. That's the next piece of advice. I am a photographer. Well, I quit developing that side of my activities, but I have my portable strobe lights, I have my video lights, softboxes, the whole shebang, and I have my camera. And originally, when I thought about filming videos for YouTube, I thought, oh, okay, I can use my camera, I will do like this and that. I can, I can get very carried away because I used to do like really nice photo shoots with everything properly, like controlling the light and everything. But in the end, for YouTube and for me to be able to just sit and record these videos, this wasn't working at all because just too much time spent preparing, and then also with editing. For me, it's just much easier to record on my iPhone, and then I edit on my iPad with a pencil when necessary or whatever. It just feels more flowy, organic, it's easier. And I can do it anywhere, just like throw my iPad in my bag, and I can do it like at a playground or something. So it was essential for me that this works for my life. And in my life right now, I can't just, like sit and do it all properly. And I do my best with making the videos sort of look nice. But yeah, it's definitely not like proper professional stuff. So I think it's important not to overthink the gear. It's important not to overthink like the whole thing. It just has to work for you. Which brings us to the next piece of advice, and that is universal in everything I ever talk about. Yes, do your research, but make sure that you stick with what works for you. And that is relevant in every area of life, because I can be talking and sharing here what works for me. Like there are thousands of people on YouTube who advise and share what works for them, but please don't take anything as a sort of like universal truth or a dogmatic thing, because in the end, the most precious thing about YouTube, for me at least, is the uniqueness and authenticity of each creator. And I think it comes through with everything, with how people talk, what people share, and how people film things. And it's important that everybody is unique and different, and that's the beauty of it. It's sort of so I think the most important piece of advice in all of it is use this time, especially like if it's your first year on YouTube, or if you're just thinking about starting the channel, use this time to sort of just get to know yourself better. Because I certainly learned a lot about myself during this journey. And that's another thing that's maybe like a side advice, I don't know. It's about staying true to yourself, because in the beginning I tried to do like perfect, flow to the videos, and like I scripted things. I very quickly realized it doesn't work for me. I can't, for the love of God, cook with a recipe. Like, I have a ton of recipe books, but I use them as inspiration, and I swear every time I cook from the same favorite recipe, I'll change something up. It's just, I have these polarities. Like, my best friend once said, Maria, if I would summarize you with one word, it's contradiction. Like, I am super organized and super messy with some things. I need my routines, and I'm super spontaneous, like up and go. Like, and that's the same thing with YouTube or with cooking or with anything. Like, I like having like this blueprint or recipe, but then every time when I actually sit down and talk, my most favorite videos and the videos that people have responded best to are the ones where I was just doing what I'm doing right now. Because I feel very constricted with scripts. And what I usually do with like my regular themed, like my regular theme, is I would draft like the opener, like the first half a minute or minute. And even then it's more like okay, I'm going to say roughly this and this and that. And then the rest, at best, I do like bullet points, because my brain is like, I need a reminder, like, okay, I'm going to talk about this, this, and this. Okay, and then I sit down and talk. And that's also, by the way, something I discovered, like what works best for me, and it's maybe not what is generally advised, is I usually I just switch the, recording, like I start recording, and then I just talk and talk. And I talk and I talk and I talk. And then afterwards in editing, I sort of distill it, because that also what helps me is I took journalism for 1 year in high school during my junior year. And like I got a pretty good training at like cropping things and like, okay, like really narrow things down. So I do my best with that. But essentially my average 10-12 minute video is just 40 minutes of me talking and then trimming off all the bits. So, and these are my favorite videos, because I did try, that's like maybe one of the lessons of, I'm going to share like in the second part of the video. I did try the script videos just also like a couple of months ago, and it was the death of me. It was like in the worst way possible. Like I'm also like, now when I look back at those videos, I'm like, oh my God, but okay. That was a lesson where I had to learn like, okay, I need to trust myself more than like people who claim to be experts or something like that. Oof. I'm going to just check how much time we have. We have 18 minutes till my group Zoom call. And I'm going to try and record the second part of this video, which is more conversational. And that was part one of the video, where I tried to sort of bring some structure into it and just, distill a few pieces of advice. And I hope you guys find it useful. And now we're starting part two, where I have a few minutes before my call, and I would like to just share a few reflections. Find your why. Like with everything, it's important to find your why you want to do YouTube. And I think for me, my why is probably completely non-conventional, but it's a bit in the woo-woo category. But the truth is that woo-woo stuff is like basically half of my life. I always say like I live 1 foot in 3D and 1 foot in the ether. But what happened is, for a couple of years already, I had been sort of told by like my friends and people like, oh Maria, why don't you go on YouTube? Because I do have Instagram for my business, and I don't have any personal social media. It's just I'm not a social media person. And they were like, oh, why don't you go on YouTube? And I always used to say, like, I would never. And the thing with the universe is that I almost feel like every time I say, I would never, oh God, no. Every time the universe finds a way to sort of make me eat my words. And it was the same with moving to the beautiful city I live in. When for 5 years, I said, I would never move to Geneva. And I'm like, the best almost 4 years of my life here. And I used to say I would never be on YouTube. And with both moving to Geneva and with YouTube, it basically happened because I know it sounds crazy, but like I have this thing sometimes, like it just comes in and like I know I have to do something. And of course there is an element of my free will, so I mean obviously I didn't have to go on YouTube, but my experience in life shows me that all the best major life decisions I have made by following this guidance that just arrives once in a while worked out super well and were the best, mind-blowingly, most amazing blessings in my life. And so I'm now, like I would say, when spirit says jump, I say how high, like, because the craziest things, and oftentimes these are things which I used to say like I would never like do, or like not my thing, and YouTube was one of those things. But when I received this guidance, I was like, okay, I don't know why, but I am going to do it. So I did a bit of research. I always do my research. I was an A student. I have this nerdy thing about me. I looked at a lot of YouTube videos with like advice on what to do. So I was sort of reasonably prepared, but I also knew like a lot of things I will just work out as I go. And yeah, so that's why I'm on YouTube. There is no particular reason. I don't really have any plans or like goals or metrics to achieve. I'm just here. I'm just existing. And I think the important thing here is also that I genuinely love YouTube as a consumer. I am not much on like other social media and stuff. Actually, my Instagram, it's like I have it for work. I have created my sort of safe bubble. I'm very careful with like accounts I follow, and I never scroll. Like it's super, super rare that I would like almost like accidentally click on the scroll thing, like something comes up, or like maybe explore tab. And I'm like, oh, that looks nice. But otherwise I never scroll, and I have created my safe little bubble and community on Instagram, and that's the way I like it, because otherwise I get really overwhelmed. And with YouTube, however, I genuinely love YouTube. I have loved YouTube like for many, many years, and I can still remember all the, like creators that I used to be subscribed to, even when I'm no longer subscribed. I still, like years later, I'm like, oh yeah, like that was like that period of life, and I used to watch like this and these channels. Because for me, I find I appreciate Instagram very much. I'm very grateful for it. And actually, I found a lot of wonderful, amazing friends on Instagram. And even my best Swiss friend, I actually met her on Instagram because she lives in Basel, which is a couple of hours train ride. And we met on Instagram, and then she visited me here in Geneva. And then like I'm going to see her in Zurich next week. But it's sort of more about connection, like yes, and even then with my sort of bubble. But I feel like Instagram, while it does allow me, for example, to share a bit of me, it's almost like an impressionistic painting, and I love impressionism, but you can't see like the details. It's more like, oh, okay, I like the vibe, you know. Whereas YouTube is more of a very like realistic painting, to me at least, with all the details. And I have the kind of brain, like the way my brain works, like I pick up on all the details. I may not notice some actually obvious things, but I will like immediately see all the details and like, oh, that's adorable, you know, like, yeah. And that's what YouTube allows me to express and to receive. So I think that sort of love for the platform from the consumer perspective is also what helps me very much, because I have seen so many YouTube videos in my life. Like, I'm also very introverted, so for me, I don't always feel like, I know I need my space. And many times it's very comforting when I find a channel which like has things which calm my nervous system, which are things I love. It's like a precious gem for me, because I'm like, oh my God, like that's, I'm genuinely very, like, I love YouTube. And I'm also like, I don't get bored with things, so maybe that's why I don't like scrolling. I like on YouTube long form, and if something is soothing or makes me smile, I'm also very happy to rewatch the same few videos like again and again and again. And I already kind of know how it goes. I know, but it's almost like comforting to me. And so that's the YouTube thing for me. And we have 5 minutes before my call, and I think just circling back to the beginning, one very important thing I realized, and it applies to YouTube and to life in general. Bye, schatje! And that's my life. I rarely get time by myself. I don't know if I'm going to keep it in the video or I'm going to edit it out. Oh my God, how much I appreciate just moments of stillness. Anywho, yes, my last point, circling back to the beginning of the video. I have a feeling I'm just going to upload the whole thing. It's tomorrow. The posting day is tomorrow, so I have a feeling I have a full day today. I have a feeling this video will be the least edited video, which is maybe like maybe it's actually kind of a fun thing to do after a year here. But yeah, circling back to the beginning, like to not overthinking things and just going with the flow. I think what helped me also is accepting that things change and I change, and actually over engineering, over planning like 12 weeks ahead or something, it just doesn't make sense. Oh shoot, I forgot to include pre-batch the videos when you can, because that's what saves me a lot. Like if I like I'm now like I have makeup on, my makeup is super minimal, but still like usually I run around the city like so this is my occasion where I like brush my hair proper, put some makeup on, and it makes sense to then record at least like 2-3 videos at a time. So pre-batching the videos it does really work, but also not pre-batching like, I don't know, 10 videos ahead, because I figured that YouTube, because I find it to be a very authentic platform in a sense, I would definitely rate it as in my personal rating. that was my alarm. My whole day is, by the way, I have like 2 dozen alarms. Because my brain needs like alarms and reminders and alerts. Learn to work with, work around these little peculiarities. But yeah, I literally, if I only had 3 minutes, I only have 3 minutes. I think what helped me a lot is accepting that the channel, whatever channel you decide to have, will change as you change. And for me especially, like when I look back at my earliest videos, like it was a very different person. Like I was a very different person. And this year especially, it's been very transformative. I think the last time I had such a transformative year was like 4 years ago in 2021. And a lot of growth. And also I stepped into like a longer term, half a year transformation program, for which I'm having a call in 2 minutes. But yeah, the content, when it's authentic, it sort of evolves as a person, as the creator evolves, and I love it because it's very nice to reflect back and think, oh, I was like this and I was like that, and it's sort of like a diary almost. Like it gives me the sense of like almost like a journal or a diary, and you can see how you have changed, how you have transformed. And yeah, just do it. If you want to do YouTube, just do YouTube. And I promise you, you will learn more from making a couple of videos than you will learn from watching me or others talk about it. So good luck, enjoy it. Like everything in life, it's all about just having fun, like bringing fun and joy in whatever we do as much as possible. And I'll see you here next Thursday for my new series, which I hopefully manage to record by then. Wishing you a wonderful day wherever you are. Bye. Okay, I guess it's going to be part 3 of the video. My call got cancelled or postponed till next week. So I should check my inbox more regularly because I got off here. And once I got off the recording, I went on Zoom. The meeting wasn't starting. I was like, that's strange. And then I checked my inbox and turns out the meeting was postponed, and I got the email a few hours before. But okay, I always think, just let things flow. And so I guess, okay, good. So we can talk a bit more about YouTube and sharing my experience with it. And I think I don't remember exactly what I managed to squeeze in the part 2 of it. So if I repeat myself, I'm going to do my best to edit out repetitions. But because this video is to be posted tomorrow, I am going to not have that much time to edit it. So my apologies. My apologies in advance if that's a bit redundant or repetitive. So to sum up, basically all the same advice that applies to life in general applies to YouTube as well. Because if you are considering, like, whatever your why for starting a YouTube channel is, if you're considering starting a YouTube channel, or if you have already started it, that's the most important thing. Like I always feel it took me a long time to learn to listen to my intuition, because I still have an overly cerebral sort of build. I have a very analytical brain. It's a bit it did come in handy in my legal work in the past, but it can be a bit of a, like I said, I can be overthinking, I can be thinking 100 steps in advance, which is completely useless because life ebbs and flows, and it took me a long time in my life to understand that There is no point in building a ship where the way life flows, it's like you best learn to surf, so to speak. Like it's all about just following where the current takes you. That's at least my opinion. Okay, so with YouTube as well, it is useful to learn a bit about it before starting and prepare a bit. However, in the end, I find that the best journeys are the ones where, you kind of have a rough idea, a bit of preparation, but then in the end, there is plenty of room to discover. And it has a lot to do, like I said, I think I mentioned before, I find that YouTube is a very authentic platform compared to many others. And it's not to say that the other platforms are not authentic inherently. It's not like that. It's more that even for me on Instagram, I do show up the way I am, but because of the formats, the short form, it's like this snippets, and there is a certain vibe to what works on Instagram, which is good and it's fun, and I actually love Instagram in its own right. Oh my god. Here, we'll make part 3 about Instagram. And it's not an Instagram versus YouTube thing, but actually there are some snippets of advice which I think may be helpful. So I have had my health coaching Instagram for 4 years already, and I'm used to it. I like it. There are a lot of things I love about it, but there were also a lot of things which weren't working for me at all. And especially when I tried to do it properly, like with a posting schedule and a certain format to the posts, it was draining the living life out of me. I was basically, I think this year by April, I decided I would just like quit Instagram, which I almost did. And I thought, okay, I'll just leave it to hang, but I will probably still connect with people, because like the one thing I love about Instagram is the people I met there, like some people which turned into like real life friends, and others who remain like Instagram friends. But nevertheless, like there are one of my closest friends is we connected 4 years ago, and then a few months in, it turned out that we attended the same high school in Texas, years, like different years. But I mean, how crazy is that? It's really a small world, and we're really like, we have like this soul friendship. And so yeah, that's the one thing I love about Instagram, that it has allowed me to connect with people. But I don't love the sort of certain constraints I felt I had to stick with. I generally don't fit well in boxes. Part of me loves rules and structures, and part of me is like... So by April, I was like, oh my God, no, I can't do it. Like, because I was trying to do it properly. And then actually was, I think, what I hope was my last external lesson in my personal development. I hired someone who I thought would help me and take care of Instagram. And so I can concentrate on my actual business and on YouTube. But that was actually more of a lesson, which in hindsight I'm very grateful for. But that made me realize how far I've come, because they tried to put me kind of in a box and script everything, and no. And at some point I realized, when there is like a resistance building and I no longer enjoyed what I was doing, then it just doesn't work. And moreover, it was also not working marketing wise. So I ended up deleting, I think, 2 months worth of content that they prepared which was like completely not me. And I had this huge gap, but I was so happy when I terminated that cooperation. And it made me realize how strong I have become. I've come a long way from being like a people pleaser and the person who doubted. I used to doubt myself so much, especially when people would confidently say something. I was like, oh yeah, sure, they know best. I'm like, you know best. That's also one of the things, both for YouTube and for life. You always know best, especially if you're in tune with your intuition. Intuition knows best. So then actually when I, closed that chapter and I came back to Instagram end of July, last week of July, I believe, I actually liked it. And I was like, and also like discovered some new things which were like nice. And I was like, okay, let me be there. And funnily enough, when I removed that pressure of creating the proper kind of content which works, and I just started like, okay, I'm not going to have a posting schedule anymore. I'm not going to do anything structured. I'm just going to like, if I feel like posting every day for a week, I'll post every day for a week if I have something to share. And if I don't feel like posting, I don't care. I'm not going to post. Interestingly, in this now 1.5 months, almost 2 months, oh my God, time flies. That's another thing. If you want to do YouTube, start now. There is no better moment than right now, because guess what? When you look back a year from now, the year will have passed anyway. And you will think, okay, well, I have had a lot of practice making these videos and stuff, and like you will have learned something, rather than overthinking and sitting and like paralyzed and procrastinating. So no better moment than right now to do whatever, just film something, post it, see how it goes. But yeah, when I got back and I have been posting more in the past 1.5, 2 months since I came back, then I posted like in a long period before that. I'm talking about Instagram now. But Instagram and YouTube, that's a very interesting kind of correlation there. I tried, so we're going to just touch base on a few things between Instagram and YouTube. I tried to sort of have part of my following from Instagram at least to sort of maybe go into my YouTube channel, and that didn't work. So I was sharing my videos and like, hey guys, like I posted this, and putting in links and making it super easy for people to click on. But the truth is it didn't work at all. And I figured out, and that is maybe something worth exploring. It's good that the call got canceled, and it's good that I have the time to talk about it, because it's quite valuable. I find that, first of all, a lot of the times people who like Instagram, I don't know about TikTok. I'm sorry. I'm not on TikTok. I think it's too overstimulating for me. But people who are on like that social media are very different people who are on YouTube in terms of like who watches what. And I'm more of a person who I like watching YouTube content. For me, it's like I want to discover a channel and like watch a half-an-hour video and really feel like I'm getting to know the person, and like I enjoy it. Instagram is more like a surface thing, which still gives, like I said, like an impressionist painting. You get a bit of an idea, but YouTube is what really, you feel, that's resonates. But so the trying to connect Instagram and YouTube didn't work. And now I think like when I record something for YouTube and I find that there is something that could work, like a snippet, like imagine if I talk for 40 minutes, then I trim it down to like 10-15 minutes on YouTube, and then I trim it further down to like 30 seconds on Instagram. So if I find that this snippet could work on Instagram, I'll share it, but I completely don't have any expectations that anybody who sees it on Instagram would ever go on YouTube, because it doesn't work like this. And it's understandable, because even with me, like for me, Instagram and YouTube are very, like, they're completely separate parts of my life. And I think looking at my YouTube subscriptions is like probably the most intimate thing anyone could do. It's like it's a different world, and I like keeping it this way. But what was I saying? Welcome to my brain. Oh yeah, even for me, it's more of an exception to like follow someone on Instagram and be subscribed on YouTube. It's more like a handful of people, like Mark Manson, because I equally enjoy his little snippets and like these little things of wisdom on Instagram, and I enjoy like sitting down with a cup of tea and, you know, tuning into a 4-hour podcast. That's like, but like I said, it's a handful. It's really like when I overall, like, I like the creator in a well-rounded way. And yeah, otherwise, so that doesn't, like, connecting the two platforms in my experience really doesn't work. Another thing is about how I create content. I find it's important to keep an open mind, because YouTube is where we can like really sit and have a conversation, and the purpose I find is very different, because I find that one of the most important things we miss nowadays is connection, human connection. And that's not something I would look for like on Instagram, normally speaking, because yes, on Instagram I found my friends, this like a whole different thing, but like from just content, it's more like information, entertainment, you know, like inspiration, something like that, education. Whereas YouTube, I find, is a wonderful place to really be me. I mean, you'll never see what you see here on Instagram, like, because on Instagram I kind of just distill everything to its bare bones, let's say, and like, or like a little tiny sketch of my life or of my day. But I find that, especially if you're coming off like a short format, whatever, you get it. I think it's important to keep like an open mind and sort of just, I think the most important thing on YouTube is just to be as much yourself as you can. And that's why I said I have come a long way from a year ago when I was sitting down and, well, oh my God, when I look back at my old videos, it's like I was trying to be so perfect. I also, by the way, oh my God, that's another thing. I had huge issues with how I look, which were more like psychological. And I did go through like a 3-week hypnomeditation program in January 2024. And that sort of started slowly cracking down the walls. And by September, I was already like, okay, at least I don't look like, I already thought, okay, I look not that difficult for people to look at. And I'm like, I can be on YouTube. Okay, fine. But still, it was a struggle for me, because when I started making YouTube videos, I was still sort of not entirely comfortable with my face. And basically my format of like talking head videos, you know, when I sit and I talk to you, it was very difficult. It was a hugely uncomfortable experience. And I can see it now when I look back at my early videos, like I was I was being very self-conscious. But funnily enough, it was putting myself out there on YouTube in this, because in that sense, my YouTube video is very different from Instagram. A lot of the content I share, well, most of my content on Instagram is where I express myself more like my photographer, videographer side, and like capture something and make a cute recipe and, you know, like stuff like that, like faceless videos or posts. And YouTube, I'm already here. So that was, I think, entirety of last year. I can really see in my videos that I was a bit like, I was self-conscious, and I was trying to compensate by over editing and over engineering and sort of like, but I can see like this discomfort with myself. But it was being on YouTube and seeing my face a lot while I was editing my videos that actually helped me, I think, dissolve these last bits of this block that I had. And this year I really accepted my face, and I actually kind of like it. And when I look at myself now, and I'm like, it's nice actually. Like, it took me almost 40 years to realize that. And I believe I have shared all I had to share today about my experience with 1 year on YouTube. So I hope you find this video useful, and I'll do my best to edit it into something coherent. And if you're still here, next week we are starting the series for, you know, the rest of this year. It's going to be the winter arc series, and I love it. I love the idea because I used to do it before it before I knew it was a winter arc. Like I don't like New Year's resolutions. I like preparing for the new year. So by the time New Year happens, I'm like, okay, well, I'm all there. So yeah, so we're going to focus on like a soft way to do the winter arc and see how it goes, because yeah, I have ideas for the first few episodes, but in the end, especially with this transformation journey I'm on for the next almost half a year, I don't know who I'm going to be in a few months from now or in a few weeks from now, and I'm just as much discovering everything with beginner's mindset. I'm going to go ahead and edit this video now, and I'm wishing you a beautiful rest of your day or night wherever you are, and thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.